The starship Sol Meridian moved silently through space, its silver surface reflecting the distant glow of nebulae and ancient stars. Inside the ship, the atmosphere felt tense but calm. Ayla Carter stood near the viewing window, watching the endless field of stars stretch in every direction. She had seen the night sky many times before from Earth, but from here it felt different. It was not something far away anymore. Now she was inside it, part of it, moving through it. Ayla placed her hand gently on the glass. She had once thought her world was small. One city, a few people, a home that did not feel like home. But now the universe was open in front of her, and she did not know whether to feel overwhelmed or grateful. Reland Solis stood beside her. He was tall, with pale blue skin that shimmered faintly under the ship lights and eyes that held a calm, steady glow. His species did not believe in lies. They did not even have a word for pretend. Everything they spoke was pure honesty, shaped with kindness when possible, but always truth. Ayla had once thought truth was always painful. But with Reland, she slowly learned that truth could heal too. "You are nervous," Raylan said softly. Ayla gave a small, humorless smile. "Is it that obvious?" "To me, yes," he replied. "Your breathing changes when your thoughts are heavy." She exhaled, realizing she had been holding tension in her shoulders. "This council, they're going to decide whether humans are allowed to join the Alliance, whether Earth gets support, protection, or gets ignored forever." "That is correct," Reland said. He did not sugarcoat things. He couldn't. It was simply who he was. Ayla swallowed. "And I'm the one representing humanity?" "You are the one who understands both pain and strength," Reland said. "That is why you were chosen." Ayla looked back at the stars. Her voice was quiet and fragile. "I wasn't chosen back on Earth. Not for anything. Not even by the people who were supposed to care." Reland turned his gaze to her fully now. "That is why your presence here matters. You represent the human capacity to endure rejection and still continue forward." Ayla did not respond. She didn't trust her voice. The ship began to slow. Outside the viewing window, something appeared in the distance, enormous, glowing like a small artificial star surrounded by rings of light and movement. The Council of Stars. A space station the size of a moon, layered with countless platforms, bridges, and habitats. Ships of different shapes and sizes moved in organized paths around it. Some were sharp and triangular. Some were round like floating orbs. Others looked like living creatures flying through space. Ayla felt her breath catch. "It's beautiful. It is the heart of cooperation in this region of the galaxy," Raylan said. "And today it will witness you." The ship docked smoothly. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. Ayla stepped out and immediately felt hundreds of eyes, and many kinds of eyes, looking at her. Beings of many species walked through the great hall. Some tall, some short, some covered in fur, others with shimmering feathers or transparent skin where glowing veins pulsed softly. The ceiling arched high above, full of gentle lights that moved like stars, but Ayla felt small. Reland walked beside her, steady and grounding. "Stay close. They will observe. But you will stand." A group approached them. At the center was Captain Vero, a stern figure with sharp features and a rigid posture. His eyes were deep silver and his voice carried authority. "You have brought the human," Vero said. "I hope you understand the risk. Humanity's history is filled with conflict." Reland bowed his head respectfully. "Humanity's history is also filled with compassion, discovery, and hope." Vero's expression did not change. "We shall see." The group escorted them to a grand chamber, the council hall. It was a circular room rising several layers upward, seats arranged in ascending rings. Each seat held a representative of a different species. The air buzzed with quiet murmurs as Ayla entered. She felt every gaze like weight. Reland guided her to the center platform. She stood there alone. A single spotlight illuminated her. The council speaker, a being with no visible mouth and eyes of soft gold light, addressed the assembly. "We gather to decide whether the species known as human shall be welcomed into the Alliance of Worlds," the speaker said. "Evidence has been submitted, but understanding must be spoken. Raylan Solis, you shall speak truth on behalf of this species, as your nature demands." Reland stepped forward. Ayla's heart began to pound. She had thought this would be a speech about science, technology, diplomacy. But Reland did not speak of those things. Reland spoke of human emotion. "Humans," he began, are a species of contradiction. They feel strongly. Their hearts are easily wounded. Their minds are restless and curious. They are capable of great harm, yes, but also of great love. Ayla felt her throat tighten. They cling to hope even when logic suggests despair. They rise from failures that would break other species. They heal from wounds that are not physical but emotional. Their strength is not in perfection. It is in endurance. Ayla stared at him. His words were true. Too true, Raylan continued. Ayla Carter is an example. She has known rejection. She has known loneliness. She has been overlooked and underestimated by her own kind, the council murmured. Ayla felt exposed, vulnerable. Her private scars laid bare before strangers. She whispered under her breath, "Please, stop." But Raylan did not stop. She stands here today not because she was supported, but because she supported herself. She faced pain, but she did not collapse. She was wounded, but she walked forward anyway. Ayla closed her eyes. Her hands trembled. Raylan's voice softened. Humans grow stronger not because they avoid hardship, but because they survive it. That is their greatest truth. Ayla felt tears press behind her eyes, not of sadness, but of recognition. The speaker considered the words. The council recognizes this truth. However, a trial shall be required to determine if this example is common to humanity or unique to this individual. Ayla lifted her head slowly. What kind of trial? The trial of reflection, the speaker replied. You will face your own truth, and you must not break. Ayla felt fear move through her chest, but she nodded. I'll do it. Raylan stepped closer, his voice gentle. You are not alone. Ayla looked at him, eyes glimmering with controlled emotion. I know, but this part, I have to face myself. Raylan bowed his head. Yes, you do. As the chamber lights dimmed and the council prepared the next phase of judgment, Ayla stood tall, even though her chest felt heavy. She had once begged the world not to show her more truth. But now, even with fear in her heart, she would face it because she was human and humans endure. The doors to the trial chamber slid open with a soft mechanical sound. Ayla stood at the threshold, feeling the weight of every step ahead. The chamber was circular and empty, its floor smooth and silver like a still lake without water. There were no chairs, no screens, no weapons, and only space. She had expected something loud, dramatic, or frightening. Instead, the silence was the most unsettling part. Raylan stood behind her. His calm presence was like a quiet anchor. This trial does not harm the body, he said. It reveals the heart. Ayla nodded slowly. I've faced my heart before. I survived, Raylan's voice softened. This time it will not hide. Before she could respond, Captain Vero stepped beside them. His posture was stiff, his expression unreadable. Human, he said formally. Understand that many species have failed this test. Not because their pain was too great, but because they refused to accept truth. Ayla met his eyes. For a moment she saw not judgment in them, but curiosity. He wanted to know if humans truly were as strong as Raylan claimed. She lifted her chin. I'm ready. Raylan placed his hand lightly on her shoulder, not to hold her back, but to steady her. No matter what you see, remember the past cannot harm you now. Ayla exhaled once, then stepped inside. The doors closed behind her. The trial begins. The chamber lights dimmed until everything faded to darkness. For a moment, Ayla felt weightless, as if floating in a void. Then, light bloomed softly around her. She was standing in a familiar place, the hallway of her old school. The lockers were the same faded blue. The floor tiles had the same scratches. The faint sound of students talking in distant rooms echoed like memories returning to life. Ayla slowly raised her hand and touched the wall. It was solid. It was real. Not in body, but in memory. Her chest tightened. Footsteps echoed behind her. She turned. A younger version of herself, around 14, stood there. Same brown eyes, same shy posture, same forced small smile, but she looked tired. Too tired for someone so young. Ayla felt her throat close. I remember this day. The younger Ayla did not respond. She simply walked past her, turning a corner. Ayla followed. She knew where this memory led. The corner opened into a small courtyard where a group of students stood. They were talking, laughing, and then the whispers began. Whispering about her, about how she tried too hard to be liked, about how she was weird, about how she didn't belong anywhere. Ayla watched the scene unfold with the painful clarity of memory sharpened by time. She wanted to step in, to tell her younger self something, anything, to stop the hurt. But the trial was not about changing the past. It was about facing it. A voice echoed around the chamber, not spoken aloud, but inside her mind. "Do you still carry this pain?" Ayla swallowed hard. "Yes," she answered honestly. "But I learned from it." The scene dissolved. Memory too. The space around her shifted again. Now she was older, standing outside a cafe. The afternoon sun cast long shadows. Her hands were clasped nervously in front of her. She remembered this too. She had confessed her feelings to someone she trusted. She had waited for hope, but instead she received laughter. Not cruel but careless, the kind that breaks more than anger ever could. And then the words, "I don't take you seriously." I never did. Ayla felt her heart twist. Even after everything she had survived, this wound had remained tender. Her past self shrank back, hurt and silent. Ayla stepped forward this time, not to change it, but to face it. She whispered to the memory, her voice steady. "You did not deserve to be mocked for caring." Her younger reflection looked up at her. And for the first time, the reflection smiled, softly, gratefully. The memory faded. Memory 3. This time, Ayla found herself in a small apartment kitchen. The light was dim. A dinner plate sat on the table uneaten. The air felt heavy. Her phone lay face down. She remembered what came next before it happened. The message, the rejection from family. Not about love, not about friendship, but about worth. "You should be more like your brother. You're just wasting your life. You're a disappointment." She remembered crying silently, so quietly she didn't disturb even herself. The room echoed with the loneliness she once held like a second heartbeat. The voice returned. "Look at the you who broke." "What do you say?" Ayla stepped closer to the table, to that version of herself who looked so lost. She knelt. "I forgive you for breaking," she said softly. Anyone would have broken. The illusion of her past self slowly dissolved into small glimmers of light, like dust rising into the air. The lights dimmed. The chamber returned to silence, but Ayla was not crying. Her heart was heavy, but steady. The chamber responds. A soft glow spread across the floor beneath her feet. The voice of the council speaker echoed around her. "You have faced your reflection. You did not turn away. You did not deny your pain. You accepted truth." Ayla stood in silence, breathing slowly. "Your strength," the speaker continued, "is not born from being unhurt. It is born from choosing to continue, even when wounded." A warm, soft light like a sunrise wrapped around her, gentle and grounding. "You are ready." The chamber doors opened behind her. The council reacts. Reelan and Captain Vero stood waiting. Reelan's eyes softened with relief. "You returned." Ayla gave a small smile. "I didn't think I would break." Vero studied her, his expression thoughtful, different from before. "Many do not face their own pain honestly. Yet you did." Ayla met his gaze. Her voice was steady and calm. "I lived through those moments once. Facing them again could not undo me." Vero slowly nodded. A gesture of respect. The council hall was waiting. Ayla stepped forward. The speaker addressed all who gathered. "Ayla Carter of Earth has passed the trial of reflection. She has shown that strength among humans is built through truth and endurance. But another test remains, one not of memory but of action." A murmur passed through the crowd. Reelan exhaled with concern. "The final test?" Ayla turned to him. "What is it?" Before he could answer, an alarm sounded through the entire station. Red lights flashed. A voice echoed across the council hall. "Unidentified hostile vessels approaching. Defense systems compromised. Prepare for impact." The hall erupted into motion. Delegates shouted, guards ran, alarms blared. Captain Vero immediately moved toward the command stations. "We are under attack." The council speaker's calm voice remained unwavering. "The final test has arrived sooner than expected. Let us see how humanity acts when the universe is not controlled, but in danger." Ayla did not hesitate. She stepped forward, not because she was told to, but because it was who she was. Human. And humans move through fear, not away from it. Red lights flashed across the council hall. The air was filled with alarms, shouts, and the deep hum of failing energy systems. Ayla Carter's heart pounded, but not with fear. With every fiber of her being, she knew humans act best in crisis, not because they are fearless, but because they move forward despite fear. Reelan moved beside her. The council must be protected. Others may not know what to do. His voice was calm, but she could sense the tension in his tone. Captain Vero barked orders, directing armed guards and technical staff to defend the station. Delegates from other species huddled in secure areas, many unsure how to respond. Ayla scanned the hall. Panic was spreading like wildfire. Her eyes caught the paths leading to the emergency control panels. Systems were failing. Communications were down. Shields were weakening. She realized that waiting for orders would cost precious time. She took a deep breath. "I'll help," she said, more to herself than anyone else. Then she moved. The human instinct, Ayla ran to the nearest control panel. Her hands flew over the alien technology. She did not know the technical names for most buttons, levers, or displays, but humans have an instinct for problem-solving under pressure. She watched energy readings spike, rerouted circuits, and shut down non-essential systems. Slowly, she began restoring critical communications. Reelan followed her, guiding her where necessary. "That sequence will stabilize the shield for a moment," he said. "Good instinct," Ayla nodded. "It's basic logic. If it can break, it can be fixed. If it can be attacked, it can be defended." Captain Vero noticed her effectiveness and called out, "Carter, guide the defense protocols. You understand improvisation?" Ayla felt a surge of determination. Improvisation was humanity's greatest weapon. When plans failed, humans adapted. That adaptation had brought them through centuries of hardships, and she would prove it now. Rising action, outside the station, rogue alien ships approached. Their metallic hulls gleamed in space like jagged stars. They fired energy pulses at the Council of Stars, causing sections to tremble and alarms to blare louder. Many species had never faced such direct aggression. Fear paralyzed them, not Ayla. Her pulse sharpened focus. She coordinated the evacuation paths for delegates, calculated safe zones, and guided technical crews to reinforce critical points. Reelan assisted, relaying energy feedback and shield status. One small delegation of timid beings froze near the exit. Ayla grabbed their hands, speaking softly but firmly. "Move quickly. Stay together. Step forward. Don't wait for someone else to lead." They obeyed, their eyes wide with awe at her composure. The rogue ships fired again, narrowly missing the evacuation path. Sparks flew and sections of the station shook violently. Ayla's hands flew over the controls, adjusting energy shields, redirecting power, and keeping the corridor open. Every step she took was precise, calculated. Every instruction she gave was simple and clear. Every human instinct she relied on, courage, quick thinking, adaptation, saved lives. The council watches. From the upper chambers, the council delegates could see her work. Some whispered to each other. Others remained silent, simply observing. They had never witnessed such raw courage before. Reelan spoke quietly to Captain Vero. "Observe carefully. Humanity does not hesitate when it must act. Even when outmatched, it moves forward." Vero nodded slowly, his stern face thoughtful. "It is remarkable. This is what I underestimated." Meanwhile, Ayla guided the last group of delegates to safety. One of them, a small creature with translucent wings, faltered. She reached out instinctively. "You can do it. One step at a time. Trust yourself." The being nodded, holding onto her hand as they moved. That instinct, to protect, to guide Mata, was what humans had done for millennia. And now, in the vastness of space, it was saving lives again. Turning the tide with the delegates safe, Ayla returned to the command center. The station's defenses were compromised but not destroyed. She observed the incoming ships' patterns. Their movements were predictable, driven by simple aggression rather than strategy. Humans, too, often lacked finesse and diplomacy. But in crisis, they adapted. She shouted instructions over the emergency intercom, directing shield alignments, rerouting energy to defensive turrets, and coordinating countermeasures. Slowly, the rogue ships began to falter, unable to penetrate the station's improvised defenses. Reelan looked at her with admiration. "You are remarkable. Even without training, your intuition guides action." Ayla exhaled sharply, wiping sweat from her brow. "It's what humans do. We survive. By learning fast, acting fast, and not waiting for someone else to save us." A pulse of energy rocked the station. Sparks flew. A section of the command floor was damaged, but she remained standing. Her hands moved with precision. Her mind worked like clockwork under stress. Every decision mattered, and every choice she made saved lives. Victory through persistence. The rogue ships, realizing the council station was resilient, began retreating. The alarm slowly ceased. The red lights faded to soft white. Delegates emerged from their shelters exhausted but alive. Council observers whispered in amazement. Captain Vero approached Ayla, his voice calm but filled with respect. "You have done what no other species could have done in this situation. You acted decisively, guided others, and defended the station. You saved lives." Ayla shook her head, catching her breath. "I didn't do it alone. Everyone followed, trusted, and acted together. That's what humans do, and we survive, but we survive together." Reelan placed a hand on her shoulder. "Your species' strength is not in perfection, but in resilience, in courage, in your willingness to act even when fear is present. Today you have proven it to the Council." The Council's decision, the speaker's golden voice echoed across the hall. "Delegates, witnesses, and representatives, observe what you have learned today. The human species, exemplified by Ayla Carter, demonstrates not only endurance but also action guided by truth, empathy, and courage. They are worthy of membership in the Alliance of Worlds." A murmur swept through the council. Some delegates nodded slowly, impressed by what they had witnessed. Others looked thoughtful, reconsidering old prejudices. Captain Vero lowered his head slightly, acknowledging her achievement. Ayla stood quietly, letting the weight of the moment sink in. She had once been rejected, overlooked, and underestimated on Earth. She had faced memories that cut deeper than any weapon, and now, here in the vastness of space, she had proven that humans were not fragile. They were resilient, adaptable, and capable of extraordinary courage. The speaker continued. "Furthermore, Ayla Carter shall serve as Earth's first representative and cultural ambassador to the Alliance. She embodies the qualities we seek in all members: truthfulness, strength, and compassion." Ayla blinked, processing the honor. It was not about prestige. It was about recognition of what humans had always been capable of, even when no one on her home planet saw it. Reflection and growth later. Ayla walked through the council hall, observing the delegates quietly returning to their duties. Reelan followed, silent but supportive. "You were extraordinary today," he said softly. "Even I could not have predicted your effectiveness." Ayla laughed lightly. "Effectiveness? Or pure luck?" "No," Reelan said, shaking his head. "It was humanity. Courage in motion. Truth applied. You showed them what it means to endure and act." She looked down at her hands, remembering every hurt, every rejection she had ever faced. Each memory had been a lesson in survival. Each scar, a reminder that she had grown stronger. She had once whispered, "Please stop. I can only handle so much truth." Now she understood. Truth was not a weapon. It was a guide. It revealed weakness, yes, but also strength. And strength, when embraced, could move worlds. A new beginning. The council hall now quiet. Ayla gazed out through the great windows. Stars stretched endlessly. A galaxy of possibility awaited humanity. Reelan stood beside her. "What will you do now?" Ayla took a deep breath. "We will grow, learn, explore, and ensure humans live up to the courage we've shown today. Not for fame, not for pride, but because it is who we are." Reelan smiled faintly. "Indeed, humanity has earned its place." Ayla's eyes sparkled. "And I will help them keep it." The stars reflected in her eyes. They were no longer distant. They were part of her journey. Part of humanity's journey. And for the first time in a long time, Ayla felt truly accepted. Not for perfection, not for cleverness, but for endurance, courage, and the simple, unshakable truth of being human. She whispered softly, almost to herself, "I can handle the truth now." And for the first time, it felt like freedom.